I'm heading up to the long broad north ridge running down from Cairngorm on another warm sunny day with really lovely light. My aim today is to see if I can find a long abandoned shelter which is just off the north ridge. I have been there before, but not for several years, and although I know where it is roughly, it is quite hard to find. So I'll be interested to see how easily... Woo, there goes my hat, there's a breeze. To continue with my hat on, I hope a bit more securely than it was. As I was saying, I'll be interested to see how easy it is to find this old shelter now, even if I can find it at all. And after that, my intention is to watch the sunset from somewhere up high, possibly the summit of Cairngorm, and then amble back down as it gets dark. But for the moment, I'm having a brief rest before I reach the North Ridge, and I'll swing the camera around and show you what a beautiful view it is from here. This is the view from the little rock I'm sitting on. Now I expect I'll have to stand up to show all of it. I can't twist that far. And this is going round to Mila Buckle. Down there you can see Loch Navem. Between the two is Rivoan Pass. Okay, let's get up. And that swings round to the end of this big ridge coming off Cairngorm. And the way I'm going is up those snow patches there. And then it's a question of whether I can find my way to this old shelter. Looking down at the shelter from above, quite difficult to see amongst all the boulders, but it is in a dramatic situation. It's out of the sun now, but up that way you can see there is still sunshine on some of the hills, and that's looking round to Bunnock Moor. Well, now to go down to it. I'm sitting outside the old Alamein shelter, built in the 1960s, along with two other high-level shelters, both of which were pulled down after the terrible Cairngorm disaster of 1971, in which 6 people died, still the worst mountaineering accident in the UK. The shelters had been put up by the military in the 1960s. This one is an oddity because it's on the steep slopes running down from the North Ridge of Cairngorm to Strathnethy. It's not on any path, it's not on any route. There's no reason why anyone would come this way or pass by unless, like me today, they're actually looking for the shelter. So why it was built here isn't certain, though the general view is it was supposed to be high up on the ridge itself, and somehow the coordinates were wrong and it was built here. Maybe so. The thing about it is the situation is superb. The views are brilliant. If you wanted to build a shelter, as somewhere to go and be away from everywhere with brilliant views, this would be a good place. If you want a shelter as they were intended to act as a refuge in bad weather for walkers and climbers, well, you'd have to be hopelessly lost to stumble across this one by accident. So I don't think it ever served that purpose, which is probably why it wasn't pulled down. It was, however, ignored, disappeared, not on maps, not in guidebooks, and it's now in a ruinous state. It will provide a bit of emergency shelter, I suppose, though not much, as we'll see, because I'll now go for a wander round it and you can see what is left. So here we are looking at the door, and as you can see, the back wall is just a wire frame now with a few rocks lower down. There's nothing to stop the wind, rain, snow whistling through. And the basic structure, which is similar to ones still standing at Fort of Arn and in Garracorry below Brereac, is a metal frame and then with fabric overlaying the metal and rocks piled up around that. If we go and have a look inside, you can see there, some of the fabric and plastic still on that wall. There's obviously a seat here once, wouldn't be very comfortable now. Plenty of headroom, but you might get 3 people sleeping on the floor. And you can see here how it was constructed with this material on the walls, which has slowly rotted away. It's quite thick, and then rocks piled up on the outside. And as you can see on this one, most of the fabric has gone. We look up, here's the roof, plenty of holes in it, and down to the door again, and what is a splendid view. As I say, the situation is fantastic, looking to Benvein across the depths of Strathnethy, and a very, very rugged scene. And just outside the door up there, that's Corrina Spray, and I come out and swing round, there's Spinach Moor. Now I'll wander round it. You can see it's constructed on this fairly narrow rib of rocks that runs down into Strathnethy that you can see far below. The rib sort of starts about here, and this is a flattish area at the top of it. As everywhere, as you can see, is bouldery and steep. Not somewhere you would think of constructing a refuge shelter, and as I said, not somewhere that anyone is likely to come for any reason, unless it's to look for this shelter like me. And there you can see, looking up, see the slopes above. You'd have to be pretty lost to come down those, by mistake. And it's so steep and rocky, you'd probably turn back before you got to this level. Now, I need to take care here, because this side of it, the rocks fall away quite quickly, as you can see. So let's get down this Still managing to hold on to the phone and not fall onto the rocks. That's it. Here we are. Now we're around the back of it. And I'll now avoid these boulders on this side of it and go round here. And this will give more of a view of it from a distance. And there it is, perched on, I suppose it's little knoll. And I say, a splendid situation. But why it's here, who knows? As I say, the idea is that the builders made a mistake with the location, build it in the wrong place. I suppose that's possible, or maybe the weather up there, where you'd think you'd build a shelter on the ridge, weather's pretty awful, and they thought, we'll drop down, find somewhere a bit more sheltered, and they found this and thought, lovely spot, we'll build it here. Who knows? But anyway, it's an oddity, and that means it's survived, slowly decaying, but it's still there. I'll say I wouldn't want to rely on it for shelter, but it's an interesting bit of Cairngorms history and interesting to come and have a look at. I'm fairly certain I shall be visiting it again, apart from anything else, from the fantastic views all around. But for now, I need to be heading back up that way and down the other side and back to Cairngorms, as it'll be dark in an hour and a half, I should think. So let's have a snack and a drink and get moving. And this is looking down at the shelter from above, and you can see the situation it's in, rising up to Bunnock Moor, which is glowing gold in the evening sun. And swinging around, the glow on the horizon, and up there is the moon, and then all the way around over Cairngorm and back to the sunset. Now I'm going to descend into the dark, though the moon should help, I think. Descending the Keist Ridge path, there's snow at the top. I've crossed a few patches, but I think that's it now. Most of the snow that's left is down in the gully, and there you can see Loch Morlich, and above it and to the left just the lights of Abbey Moor and a fine evening sky. Come round to Mila Buchel and the path down. I expect I'll need my headlamp soon, but it's been a great afternoon and evening.